Did you always want to run for the assembly or for state government, or when did you finally decide to?
No, I think that in the last year of my office there, as the economy and as the news that were there provoked me to think that in order to get at least my effort to restore the economy, to create jobs and to create that, the only way I could do it is from here. My term was ending over there, and the legislation that was there really didn't give you those are ordinances over there, and those are kind of resolutions over here, statutes, and it's the state budget of billions of dollars in order to make directional change. I don't think Carson City's an island by itself. It couldn't work that way, so that motivated me to get involved in it. Of course, the big issues right now as we debate, you heard the governor's state of the state, and his emphasis about putting Nevada back to work. And his issue is putting Nevada back to work without a creation of a new tax load on everybody you can think of. And which I support his efforts to do that. And what we need to do is we need to look at government as how we operate it and what we can afford to pay for. And I think the governor's put together a good proposal. And then, of course, the other big component is trying to continue to keep my state employees employed. Layoffs is not something I want to hear from my constituents. And so I want to make sure that I can do whatever I can do to protect their job forces here and keep that element of jobs here in Carson City.
How do we do that without revenue increases?
Well, first of all, we want to stand there and say, wait a minute, this is not something easily to be considered. We really need to look at every ability we can. If you can reduce services over here, can those people be replaced, or maybe there's vacancies someplace else that they can be transferred to, or like the city did, we reduced our complement down there over a period of a couple of years of over 100 people. We did it through early retirements, we did it through attrition of zone, and hopefully what I don't want to do is see 1, 10, 100 of state employees on the unemployment line, because that's really what the issue is. There's other ways to do this.
What about the future of the Nevada State Prison?
That's the same applies to that. And I heard Governor Gibbons was here. The debate on that was, I think it was start off at $2 million, $7 million. Just yesterday it was disclosed $16 million in savings. And I think the governor's office has to do its homework, which is done, and look at the efficiencies of where that service is provided. But back down to what I just described to you a minute ago, I support at least the employees that are going to be involved in this, so the employees are going to be bear the brunt of this. We need to make sure we can try and keep them as employed as we can. And whether that's in other departments of the state here, we need to be very inventive of how we do that.
So it sounds like you're not. Well, are you in support of closing the prison?
As I just described, if it's a budget issue, we don't have money to operate it. That's probably a correct answer to say. But again, at the same time, I'm very, very sensitive to the employment base we have here. What I don't want to do is take jobs from Carson City and move them down to southern Nevada. Redistricting is going to be a debate, and it's going to be, right now, as soon as the census numbers come in, and which is this time of the year of 2010, or this census year, we'll have to take the numbers of population and divide it by the current basis of 42 assembly and 21 senators. Now, the Constitution allows for expansion of the legislature. I would prefer to see that before I see the elements of the rural north losing population right now. I also get a lot of emails and messages from the private side. The private side is struggling too. There's just a story the other day in the paper where Gamey lost $3.5 billion. I got some very tearful emails from business people that talk about their plight in order to meet payroll and meet their costs. So this is an element that all of us are involved in. It's not just about teachers and educators. It's not about higher education or health and human services. It's the governor's wish to restore Nevada to the force that it was before. And I'm here to work with the governor, and I'm here to support the governor, whatever that takes to do that. You know, the Carson City's budget roughly $60 million, give or take a few dollars here and there. And they probably have some opportunities to look at how they can best utilize that money to maybe fit within whatever is going to be asked of them. And again, that's all perception right now until we really know what's being asked of them. I would, as I discussed with the mayor yesterday, is that, you know, you got reserves, you can't really make your budget until you know what you're asked to do. But I also asked him to look out and reach out to the community, to look at the nonprofits, look at the other support people that are here that maybe can help in some arrangement, whether by personnel, by financial. I just think the mayor has to look at everything in his toolbox. But the voters sent us here for a reason, and I think we got to continue to remember that. The voters sent us here to find a way to fund our state government and put people back to work. That's what I hope we can do. And I've had a lot of discussion with former legislators or legislators that are returning about the process. I can only anticipate right now I'm putting in an 8-hour day. I'll probably put in 12, 14, 15-hour days as the session gets closer to its end. And I don't know how to manage that, but I'm sure I will. But I think that in the long run, I think the governor's message is about Nevada's good days up front of it, and I believe he's right. I look forward to that. I think Nevada's up to the challenge.